We're at Pittsburgh International Race Complex for the historic races of the Pittsburgh Vintage Grand Prix. Joining us now is Dan Delbianco, the Executive Director of the Pittsburgh Vintage Grand Prix. Dan, thanks for taking the time to talk to us.
Thanks for coming out to watch the event. You've joined about 5,000 people that rolled in here to watch our races. We appreciate it.
Could you give us a brief history of where the Pittsburgh Vintage Grand Prix started and how it evolved to what it is now?
Started 30 years ago back in 1983 as a one-day race through Schenley Park in Pittsburgh. And here we are 30 years later, 10 days of events, 2 race weekends, multiple car shows and parades and black tie galas. So it's grown quite a bit.
And along the way, as it's grown, a lot of people have benefited from it. Who does benefit from the Pittsburgh Vintage Grand Prix?
It's been the same 2 charities since day one. It's the Allegheny Valley School and the Autism Society of Pittsburgh. And those 2 organizations are actually very much a part of us as well. A lot of their staff and families are volunteers. And so here we are after 29 years, and we are at $2.95 million. So God willing, we'll get to $3 million this year.
Now the focus this weekend is all racing. But next week when you get to Schenley Park, there's a lot more than just racing going on.
That's right. You'll be watching the races from the golf course, which is filled with about 2,000 show cars, a couple of dozen sponsor tents, the big Shop and Save hospitality tent in the middle. And so it's watching from all the car shows and seeing the only vintage street race in our country is quite unique.
And having one race this weekend and a full separate race next weekend, it's a great opportunity for the vintage racers to come to this area and get twice the racing opportunity for their travel dollar.
We do. We actually have a discounted rate for those that enter both race weekends. I think almost a third of the people racing here will be racing in Schenley next week. Not necessarily the same cars. A lot of them have multiple cars for different tracks. And so we've even invented an extra race at Schenley. It's free to anyone that competes on both race weekends. So we're trying to get them some more track time.
What do you see in the future for the Pittsburgh Vintage Grand Prix?
You know, at 10 days, I think we're pushing the envelope with our 1,200 volunteers. They do an incredible job. So I don't see it growing outside of that time frame, but we're continually trying to just improve things, make things more efficient, and raise more money for the charities.
Well, I've been coming to this particular event for 7 years, and I get a big thrill out of this. I think it's a great event for the racers and the spectators. And the car show at Schenley Park next Saturday, I used to enter my motorcycle in that till conflicts got in the way, but it's one of the finest car shows I've ever seen.
It's terrific. Like I said, 2,000 cars out there, supported by all of the local car clubs. So you've got vintage, classic, and you've got a lot of new cars in there as well. And then if you do love cars, almost every major manufacturer is represented there as a sponsor. So you'll see cars from brand new to 80 years old.
Well, on behalf of all the car lovers and race fans out there, I want to thank you and all of your volunteers for the effort you put into this fine event.
They do an incredible job. Thank you.
This is Tom Lang reporting for Open Throttle 360.